Whether you just bought a GTR or you're considering buying one, there's going to be a few things that you're wondering, is this normal? So in this video, I'm going to go over some things that surprise first-time GTR owners. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am a car enthusiast and an automotive filmmaker. And if you like anything about cars or cameras, please subscribe for future videos. So you either just bought a GTR or you're considering buying one. There are a few quirks about the platform that experienced GTR owners kind of know about, but it's very surprising for first-time owners. These are just some things that I wish somebody told me when I first bought my car. But before we get into it, you need to hit that like button so that YouTube can show this out to other potential GTR owners. So I've owned my GTR for about 5 years now, and I have about 80,000 miles on it. However, I didn't want to just give you a single person's perspective. What I've done is I made a post on a GTR group and wanted to get everyone's feedback on what surprised them. Everyone's perspective is a little different. Everyone's GTRs are a little bit different. And these are the top 5 things that I've noticed. First one being all the different noises that the car makes.
Loud noises!
The car is a clunky platform. It likes high speeds. It doesn't really like going around in the parking lot and doing U-turns and the simple car things. Fun fact is that trained GTR technicians actually go over a course learning all these different noises and what it means. That's how serious the noise thing is. The next video I'll be making is a sum of all these different noises and what it may mean. So subscribe for future videos. So some of the things that will make noises are your bell housing. That will rattle. If it rattles too much, then it does need to get replaced because that could break the drive shaft and increase a ton more cost. So if you do hear a lot of rattling from your bell housing, it may need some replacing. Here's a quick video that I did about bell housings and what you should be aware of. On some of the ears of the platform, the brake pads are very squeaky. This is somewhat normal, but it is fixable. Your transmission is super clunky, especially first to second gear. You'll feel it. That is completely normal. U-turns are super awkward. Every time you do a U-turn, you hear a bunch of clunking, and it almost feels like a ball joint is at the end of its life. But sadly, this is normal. If you're on run flat tires still, those are noisy as hell.
Sure, well, this comes through my mic. Sounds like it's more in the rear of this car.
The lack of noise. The stock exhaust on the GTR literally sounds like a vacuum cleaner. It's terrible. Don't worry, once you get an exhaust, it'll sound good. But just be aware that if you're buying a GTR with a stock exhaust, prepare yourself for that. The easiest thing to give it a little bit more of a throaty sound is adding a mid-pipe. But just be aware that, yes, it is completely normal for your GTR to sound like an Altima. The second thing is never, ever, ever try to do all-wheel drive donuts with your car. You see a bunch of videos, even people doing it in the snow or in the rain. My advice is to just not do it, because what this can do is burn your ETS units. So with the GTR platform, it is not a completely 50-50 distribution for your front wheels to your rear wheels. You are more rear-wheel drive than you are front-wheel drive. So I believe it's 70-30 in the with more being in the rear. And so it tries to adjust for that. So when you're doing donuts, it's still trying to actually grab traction. The result of that will eventually end up meaning that you're gonna have to replace your ETS units. Your shifting is gonna be even more clunkier, and it's not a cheap fix. So don't do donuts in your Nissan GTR. Next, by no means necessary, have your windows open while it's raining. One of the weird things about the Nissan GTR is that if it's raining a little bit, all of that. Maybe it's aerodynamics and how the GTR is shaped. But man, all of that rain just flies into the cabin, sprays you in your face. So just be aware of that. It's terrible. Now, although there are some Toyota Camrys that are more expensive than some of the GTRs out there.
Go. You can't. Whose mess is this? You put him on the TV. Go! Bro, don't. Go!
Expect to get a GTR tax. The tax is a very, very real thing. Now, I've worked on my GTR. I don't know how to do everything on it, but after overworking on it for 5 years or so, replacing simple things here and there, it's really not an extremely complicated car. It's a very simple car. However, be aware for the GTR tax. Things are going to be a lot more expensive if you take this to the dealership, if you take it to a mechanic, whatever the case may be. Just because it's a GTR, you will have to pay extra for things.
Let's call the dealership and see how much they charge to do the transmission and the differential flush.
So we are looking at $1,743.
So that comes to a total cost of what we did today, $166. Say it's $170, right? A little bit over $1,500.
Things will be more expensive. Your tires, for example, you're running 20s, so be wary of that. Your brakes and your brake pads. The GTR is a very heavy car. You're going to go through a lot of tires and you're going to go through a lot of brake rotors and brake pads. Be aware of that. Find a good deal, stock up, and just be smart about it. Learn how to do some of the maintenance items on your own. Learn how to do the oil change. Learn how to flush your brakes. Learn how to change your wheels. There's a few other things that you can easily do yourself in a garage. It's not a very complicated platform. Subscribe to my channel for videos on how-tos. Honestly, if you take care of all the maintenance items on your own, you can save a good amount of money. I do have a playlist here on some of the how-tos that I've put together, and I've been able to save quite a good amount of money by doing so. Modding your GTR is typically going to be a lot more expensive as well. Exhausts are a lot more expensive. Your mid-pipes, your tuning, intakes, all those sort of things. Don't forget you have 2 turbos, so you're usually doubling everything. Be aware of this before getting into the platform. I know a lot of people feel like it's a threshold to just get a GTR, but just be aware of these things because it is costly. You can save a few dollars by buying a modded GTR. In my opinion, I think that's a very smart way to go about purchasing a GTR. For example, the GTR that I ended up buying had the wheels that I wanted on it, was full bolt-ons. That previous owner, just in those mods alone, full bolt-ons, tires, wheels, that was at least about 50 grand that he had to cough up. So not a bad idea. As long as you know what mods to look for, what things to look for, you can get a bargain out of one of the GTRs that come on sale. So depending on the modifications, depending on what you're looking for, be patient, understand the market, and then hop into something that you find is a good opportunity for yourself. Next, understand that this is a 14-year platform. Typically a CBA like mine, a 2009, is a 14-year-old car. So don't expect a lot of the creature comforts that we get today in a lot of the cars today. One big example is understand that you're not going to have Bluetooth. You're not going to have CarPlay. So what I would recommend is a Bluetooth device that you can plug into the car and use your phone that way. Next are some things that I would consider being annoying and almost to the point where you don't want to ask. So understand that no, there is not a spare tire in the car. Stock, these cars came with run flats, and if you know anything about run flats, other than them being noisy, if your tire is punctured, like a simple puncture, like a nail or something like that, I forget how many miles it has until it completely goes flat, but that was the concept when the GTR came out. So you do have a tow hook and you have a jack under the footwell of the passenger side. You can use your spare key. So if you pull your spare key apart, you're able to lock and unlock that compartment that's under the footrest. So use that compartment responsibly. Also, with that same key, if you turn it the other way and your battery is dead, for example, you can open the trunk by entering that key into that same footwell. Next is a little just annoyance. So where the button for the heated seats are located, if, for example, your passenger decides to heat their seats, you have, as the driver, have no idea from your perspective on where you, as the driver, have no perspective on knowing if that heated seat is on or off. It's on the, you have to go around the car or over the top of the passenger seat to see if that light is on. So just be aware of that. Opening the hood. Make sure you're holding onto it tight because there are no compression shocks that come stock with the GTRs, at least in the CBA and the DBA. That is probably one of the first upgrades a lot of people do. They'll add some pneumatic shocks to the hood so that you don't have to use the hood stand. Know that you do have folding mirrors. So if you are parked in a parking lot, you're parked somewhere in a tight space, you do have folding mirrors. You have a button for it, but you have to manually press that. It's not like a lot of new cars where it automatically folds in. You do have to press the button, but it is a nice little feature. Revving your car. Understand that I wouldn't put the car in neutral and rev it. Having a GTR, you're going to be asked to do burnouts. People are not aware that it's an all-wheel drive car, unless you have the controller, the drag controller to burn the rears. So if you do, then go ahead, I guess. But I would avoid trying to rev it when you're driving. It just impacts the transmission. The transmission is really the weak point on this car. If it hasn't been upgraded, it likely will at some point in its life. If you're looking for a CBA GTR, make sure that that trans has been either upgraded or rebuilt. Next is another thing that is a little bit annoying, but helps to understand that your rear bumper is always going to be dirty. The exhaust fumes do hit the rear bumper. If you are running E85, it'll be a little bit cleaner, but just be aware that this is a completely normal thing and you will have to wash your car more periodically. PPF or vinyl wrap. It's very popular on Nissan GTRs because the paint on the Nissan GTR is very soft. It's very prone to chipping and light scratches. And being that it's a soft paint, the clear coat can burn off very easily when someone's trying to paint correct it. Thus, why you see a lot of people doing PPF and vinyl wrapping. It will prolong the life of the paint. PPF is going to protect it from chips. Vinyl wrap is not meant to protect it from chips, but the probability of a rock chip hitting the same place twice is low. So that's why I keep vinyl wrapping my cars. So consider it. It's not a cheap modification by any means, but it's something to consider for the resale value in the future. Last thing that surprises most new GTR owners is that the attention is very bipolar. If you're getting this car to attract girls or anything like that, don't buy a car to impress females. 2, you're going to get more guys who are more interested in your car than females. So if you're buying the car to impress some girls, wrong car and wrong mentality. Also, a good majority have no idea what this car is, even though it's been in production for 14 years. You'll get a lot of attention from the younger crowd, of course, just because of the platform being in video games for the last 14 years. At least from my personal experience, I've gotten a lot of weird attention from lifted trucks. They always try to race, or they rev, or they roll coal at me. So to each their own, just something that you should be aware of. And that's it. I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Hopefully you guys took away something from this video. It is an absolutely lovely platform. There's a reason why I haven't sold my GTR for such a long time, is every time I drive it, I just fall in love with it. It's a very versatile platform. It's, in my opinion, the best bang for the buck, and it fits in a lot of different car group niches. So subscribe for more videos, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.